Today we're doing our top 10 anticipated board games of 2022. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure that you do. It is the best way to help us grow. And for those of you already subscribed, thank you so much. Before we start this list, I do want to include one honorable mention, and that is for Vagrant Song. I actually had a lot of comments about this on my best from the year from 2021. And so this is kind of a weird one because this was my most missed game from 2021 that I didn't get to play, yet it says it's a 2022 release. It's very interesting where this falls on the line. I know that there's some weird stuff going on with the pre-orders, so I'm not sure if they changed it, but have no fear, I am super excited to try Vagrant Song. It is a campaign-style game of you going from train car to train car using this very interesting bag-pulling mechanism to do your actions, and it just looks fantastic. I love the art style. I love the whole tune to it. The writing is supposed to be amazing. Can't wait to jump into that one. So that's my honorable mention, Vagrant Song. Let's go ahead and jump to number 10. My number 10 is going to the game Ascension Tactics, the deck-building miniatures game. Now that's a mouthful of mechanisms, but coming from Stoneblade Entertainment and Ultra Pro, this is a proven universe that has a huge fandom, a huge amount of lore, and it's taking deck building in a direction that I find very exciting and cool. They're doing a miniatures game where you are going to be using your deck of cards you're constructing to maneuver your characters throughout the board. It's either going to be a competitive game where you're going to be using your characters and going in a PvP style, or it's going to be solo or cooperative, and I think that's amazing. You're going to have lots of different ways to use the different cards, strategize, and pull together things in order to approach a fantastic pre-existing world. I cannot wait to try this one. I love the idea of using cards to move miniatures around, and I think that this one will do it extremely well. You have defense cards, everything is beautifully illustrated, and you still have those cards you can always buy that are going to be available. The only thing that I'm a little iffy on is the board here, but I do think it looks fantastic, just the way that the pieces are laid out and how the terrain is going to matter, leaning into that tactics side of a miniatures tactical game. As it says here, the artwork's not final, so hopefully it comes out looking like this amazing piece of art. I cannot wait to give it a try. So we'll see how it plays, and I cannot wait. This is one that I've actually received a kind of shipping notification for, so it should be here soon, so can't wait to give my thoughts on it on the channel. So that's Ascension Tactics, the deck building miniatures game, my number 10. My number 9 is going to the game Dead Reckoning. This is a pirate card crafting game that uses an objective system similar to Scythe. This is from John D. Clare, the pioneer of these styles of games, but this focuses more on the board and the exploration as opposed to the card crafting and these pieces you're taking. I love this approach to the system of the game, as you're going to be going around this gigantic board, exploring islands, and really doing what you see fit when it comes to the board. You have a battle system that's used through cube dropping, you have card crafting, either it be through advancements or leveling up, and then the gameplay itself is going to have you pursuing lots of different objectives. You could explore different islands, you could expand and put buildings out, you can extract to gain resources, attack opponents, and the coolest thing about this, as I said earlier, is the objective system. I love the way that you have this row of these different things you can do, and you just have to do those things well to score points. Very similar to Scythe, if you do so many islands or so many combats, that is going to score you those extra points and trigger the end of the game. I'm super excited to see them take the card crafting system and do something other than a deck building style game. This looks like it's more focused on the exploration and the advancement of pre-existing crew members and the upgrades and the ocean boards and the different towns that exist, and I cannot wait to give it a try. So super excited to be a pirate in Dead Reckoning. My number 8 is going to Darwin's Journey, a co-design by Simone Luciani and Nestor Mangone. This is a worker placement Euro game where you play as researchers following Darwin's journey through the Galapagos Islands and researching early evolution theory with him. Super fascinating theme right off the bat, and I love the setting as well. You're going to be going from island to island, but the core of this game is the worker placement system, and that is probably the most exciting thing here. You're going to have these wax seals that you're going to be using to upgrade your characters to improve their efficiency of actions. In addition, you have lots of really cool options for solo play, and the deluxe components that come in this collector's edition of the game are top notch. You have actual wax seals that look extremely cool. You have different alternative solo mode player boards, and then everything has been upgraded. You've got amazing card stock on the cards, fancy metal coins, cool cotton bags. This is just fantastic. I cannot wait to dive into this, and it just looks amazing. You have lots of different mini expansions for varied gameplay and a bunch of neat stretch goals that are going to add more variety in the form of scenarios, companions, all sorts of extra tokens and tiles. Super excited to give this one a try, and it's one that I can see myself dive into quite a bit. Super excited for this one. That's my number 8, Darwin's Journey. My number 7 is going to the game Dice Realms. This is a engine building game brought to us by Tom Lemon, designer of Race for the Galaxy and Res Arcana. This game has you taking these dice with customizable faces and using tools to pop them off and put new ones on. This uses a Quacks of Quedlinburg style system where all of these tiles are available, but based on the tiles that you pick at the start of the game, it's going to change the abilities of these different dice faces. So one game your yellow could mean something, and the other game it could mean something else. And I really like that system. You'll be using these dice and rolling them to gather resources, build points, and upgrade and continue to upgrade those dice that you're rolling. And I love the way this sounds. This has actually been used already in one of the Race for the Galaxy expansions, this exact system with the same tools for removing the dice faces, so I know they work, which makes me excited for this game because the concept has been proven with the prior game. I'm super excited to see the different powers in conjunction with each other and excited to dive into Dice Realms. So that's my number 7, Dice Realms. My number 6 is the Isofarian Guard. This is an adventure-style bag building game where you're taking this large poker chip bag and going on a narrative adventure through this cold winter landscape. You're going to be doing this through adventure maps, and each time you go through the map, you're going to be able to participate in encounters, whether it be in the towns themselves or along the road. You're going to have all these poker chips, think Chip Theory Games quality level of weight, and you're going to be using them to build out your bag. These bags are tied to the items that are on your player boards, and I think it's a really great system because at all times you kind of know what you're going to be drawing and what your potential pool is. This is a 1 or 2 player cooperative or solo game, and it's got a fantastic open world exploration system. It has narration through the Foreteller app and then amazing organization systems as well, but that core concept of knowing your existing pool and using that pool to take actions sounds extremely fun to me. I can't wait to dive into Isofarian Guard. The story looks great, the soundtrack itself looks awesome, and this just looks like it offers a very unique world that we get to dive into using a very unique mechanism. I'm super excited to dive into this bag building adventure. So that's my number 6, the Isofarian Guard. My number 5 is going to John Company's 2nd edition. Now, the designer, Cole Worley, the studio, Whirligig Studios, and the intent of this game, the 2nd edition, very similar to the 2nd edition of Pax Pamir, is all you really need to know as to why I'm super excited to jump into this. This is going to offer new, deeper mechanisms as opposed to the old John Company, and put it in the hands of so many while remaining quality with period illustrations. I love this. Now, in John Company, you play as a member of the East India Trading Company, doing your best to create an empire. And I love this idea. I'm super excited to see how it works, how it scales with the player count, how it uses these cards effectively and well. And this board itself just looks absolutely lovely. Some of the things I'm really excited for are the negotiation systems and to see how that works in the game, as well as new events, and most importantly, scenario-driven gameplay and solo mode. I think that's super exciting that you're going to have a bunch of different ways that are going to keep on pulling you in. It reminds me of something like Ankh Gods of Egypt, where even though you have that extremely solid core system, you're going to have something that you can dive into again and again by changing up small mechanisms. And I love that approach to game design. So super excited to dive into John Company's 2nd edition, and so impressed with everything Cole Worley's put out so far. So let's see what he has for us next. So that's my number 5, John Company 2nd edition. My number 4 is going to the game Burncycle from another company that I trust. This is Chip Theory Games, Adam and Josh Carlson, giving us an incredible design that's all about programming movements and getting upgrades over an infiltration style game. Now, the theme of this game is super interesting. What's happened was robots eventually replaced humans on Earth, but over time, robots have done their best to reintroduce humans to the population. But that backfired for the robot population because now the humans are in control and they are pressing the robots. So you're going to be doing the best you can in order to survive and complete missions to push your agenda of this robot uprising further. I think this is super fascinating. This has everything we've come to expect from Chip Theory Games, with neoprene mats everywhere, beautiful poker chips, incredible production in general, and over-the-top extras in the form of brass minis. The main gameplay of this game revolves around what's called the Burncycle, and it's essentially a programming system. You're going to be adding chips to it and using that over and over again to take actions on the main board. And I think this is really exciting because it's a new approach to a game from the Chip Theory lines. It's not just about combat-centric, but it's about careful, thoughtful programming, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. Once again, super interested in the theme overall, and just come to expect great things from this company. So super excited. That is my number 4, Burncycle. My number 3 goes to ISS Vanguard. This is a space exploration, planet exploration game where you play as the crew of the ISS Vanguard. The entire world has sent their best and brightest to be a new hope for the future, and it's up to you to explore the outer reaches of space. And I love this theme. This is a scenario-based game where you're going to be taking this logbook, and this book is actually going to be able to organize your different crew members. And I really like this, flipping pages and seeing who's assigned to what, so you are in control of the entire ISS Vanguard. And I think that's amazing. Now, interrupting these phases, you have the actual campaign, which is going to introduce these different missions and scenarios, which are the places on the planets that you'll visit. And I love this style of game. I love having a set amount of things that you'll be exploring, and then going back and then preparing for the next adventure. And I love how self-contained these adventures are, but those choices are going to affect and have a trickle-down effect on the rest of your campaign. This is a super exciting game, the next development by Awakened Realms, who put out Etherfields 2 years ago that I really, really enjoyed, and I can't wait to see what they do with ISS Vanguard. So super exciting to explore these new planets. This is my number 3, ISS Vanguard. My number 2 is going to the game Earthborne Rangers. This is the same team that has brought some of my favorite games ever to light. Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings the card game, Arkham Horror LCG. This design team is a no-brainer for me to be excited for. Earthborne Games is their new venture that's bringing us Earthborne Rangers, a sustainable LCG card game that's going to give you a new, unique look on a post-apocalyptic future. Humanity has fought back and has risen and has repopulated the world with plants and wildlife, and this is so interesting. I love how you're going to see the results of this repopulation effort as you get to explore this super exciting, vibrant world full of creatures and mystery. Super majestic wildlife. The cards are clean. The system is clean. The adventure is new and fresh. And I think that the system of Gloomhaven style action modification when resolving tests is super interesting. I love that you're going to have this new resource allocation system on your turn where you can use them to play cards or trigger the pre-existing cards. I think it's just a really solid sounding system, and it's one that I can't wait to jump into. It sounds very fresh, has a lot of new classes, and just the amount of potential that comes from the scenarios paired with the different deck building construction tactics. Can't wait to dive into it, honestly. I think it's a very fresh theme, and this design team has not failed me yet. So show me what you got, Earthborne Rangers. That's my number 2. My number 1 is going to Primal the Awakening, a deck constructing game where you are going to be fighting these gigantic bosses, doing so in a Marvel Champions combat in a very close and personal board. This sounds absolutely incredible. So once again, fully cooperative, you're going to be taking your character, and based on the loadout of the gear and equipment on that character, that is going to determine what goes into your deck. Once you've constructed your deck, you'll go onto this tiny little map here with 4 quadrants, and you'll be diving around those quadrants, evading the enemies and having an up-close and personal fight with this large miniature. Whether it be a dragon or, there's so many different characters, you are going to be doing your best to use your weapons to inflict damage and hopefully strip it for parts and bring its weapons into the next battle. This is just a blend of a lot of things that I love. Marvel Champions style card play with the combat and boss battling systems with the very flavorful AI that Kingdom Death Monster has, but on top of everything, my favorite thing, the thing I'm most excited for, is the close combat quarters that this battle is taking place in. In a lot of these large battler games, you're going to have this gigantic map that you can kind of run around, interact with terrain. In this game, you are there. You are actually face-to-face with this monster, dodging, rolling, dipping, diving, and I think this is so awesome. The way that these characters feel and the up-close personal damage and attacks that you can do just makes it seem like a very close and personalized experience, and I can't wait to jump into this. This sounds like such an interesting take on the boss battling system, and all of these creatures, these titans, these monsters sound like something that I can't wait to dive into to see how their different mechanisms result in exciting gameplay. Cannot wait to play this one. Primal the Awakening, please come out this year. I cannot wait. And that's my number 1. Primal the Awakening. And that's the list. Those are my top 10 most anticipated board games of 2022. What are your most anticipated games of 2022? Is there anything that I missed on this list? Anything that you think I should have thought about? What are your things that you don't agree with me on? I'd love to hear what you think. But thank you so much for watching SideGame Strong.